Every parent wants a special room for their child, no matter the age. Having a stimulating environment is not only exciting for a young person, but it's also important for development. Mariette Sakelliou of Little Interiors shares some insight into the inspiration behind her work.
I think it's very important for a child to feel that they've got their own space with their own boundaries so that they can feel safe in their little space, even if it's just a little reading nook or a craft area that they can call their own. By adding touches of what they like, a photo, some art, drawings that they like, an ornament, I think just adding one or two objects like that, it really creates a space for them and they feel it's their own.
Mariette shows us 3 different children's rooms, a toddler's room, a pre-teen room, and this delightful gender-neutral nursery.
I wanted to keep a gender-neutral nursery. With both my pregnancies, I didn't find out what the gender was. So that was very important to create a space that either a boy or a girl can feel comfortable in, and that grows with them, and you can add touches of pink or blue later on once you know the gender, or even if you already know the gender. So that was very important for me. I went with a solid grey base, and I wanted to have a nice airy room, and I added some pops of green and yellow in, but it was an all-round muted room. It is a small space, so you kind of can only put the bare essentials in there. So I added things in that are necessary. Everything's on hand, you can use it when you need it. I added a little bit of black and white into the room for visual stimulation for the baby, so everything is right on hand and spot on for development.
There are many ways to ensure a smooth transition from baby to toddler. Mariette shows us how having a room tailor-made for a growing toddler can help with the change that it brings.
The toddler room is for a little boy, and I took everything that boys loved and I combined it into one room. Again, I started with a grey base, and that was a neutral base to start with, and then I started adding colour, pops of colour with toys and accessories and pictures on the walls and some wall decal. I wanted to create a nice, neat reading nook and a playing area, but also have a space where you can transition from his cot now into a big bed. The teepee is a normal playing teepee. I used it as a headboard for the bed. We are transitioning the little toddler from a cot to a bed now, and this is a fun way of getting them to want to sleep in the bed. And the star wall decals also helps, acting like we are outdoors, to create a fun way to get him into his bed. Books are very important for kids' development. They need to be accessible to kids, so I've created this little reading nook which allows the child to have access to the books, and it's important for them to know that even if they can't read yet, they learn the value of books and reading.
Every little girl wants a special hideaway and a space to call her own. Mariette shows us how to create the perfect escape for your pre-teen princess.
The tween room is for a little girl that's between a little girl and a teenager, and trying to keep some of the elements to still keep her a little girl, but adding in interest that she might develop within the next 2 years or so as she goes towards her teen years. So I combined everything that she also loved. She's a very girly girl, and I just toned it down a little bit, and I also again started with a neutral grey and added the pops of colour into it. By using storage that's situated a bit higher on the wall, I can add little decor items that I don't necessarily want my daughter to be touching right now. She'll appreciate it a bit more when she's older, so by keeping it a bit higher, I can avoid it from breaking, and she can play with it later on and she can still adore it. The headboard is custom designed. I was inspired by a Dutch-owned cupboard company, that use these little silhouettes of Dutch houses. So we decided to do a headboard out of it, which is a fun, different design to the room. A child's room is never 100% complete. As they're growing and as they're getting older, you're adding stuff, you're adding photos, you're adding some of their personal touches to the room. So never force yourself to have to finish a room 100% because it will never be finished.